Hey there, my name's Chris Bailing with 10 Pound Gorilla, and today I'm going to be going over the Google Programmable Search Engine, which is a cost-effective and reliable solution for building out search on your website. One of the things I really like about the Google Programmable Search Engine, which is always a mouthful to say, is that it is super easy to add to your website, and it's a really reliable solution that you can add. Google is one of the best in search, and so you can tap into all of the features and capability and years of experience that Google has in providing really high quality search results. When you configure a Google programmable search engine, and I'll stop saying that, you have the ability to specify the specific websites that you want to include in the search. And so if it's just one website that you have that you're looking to provide search for, you can only return results related to it. And so it's a way to get all of the same functionality an end user would get if they go to Google your organization, but it's something that is only returning results, again, about your organization. The way the tool is built, though, you can include other websites. So if you are an organization that has your primary website and then you have an intranet or a resource library site that is external from your main site, you can put all of those into one search tool and generate results for them. And so that can provide a nice unified experience for search. So again, some of the benefits of using the search engine is that it's going to give you accurate and relevant results. I know I've had some discussions with organizations where they can complain about how search is responding on their website, and they say they get a better response if they just go Google it. And so if you're implementing the programmable search engine, you're getting the same results that Google is generating to users that are searching for you online. I think it is super easy to add to DNN. It's really something that you can add to any website that you're building. There is a embed code, if you will, that you add. It's really a JavaScript file that gets added to the page, and that will build the markup on the website for display. The way it's built is different than like an iframe embed. So it actually generates the markup on the web page, and that allows you to stylize it a little bit. So you can put CSS into your theme or skin that modifies the styling of the search results. And then again, it is a very cost-effective solution. It's $5 per 1,000 search queries that you're generating across the website. So even for a really large organization that has hundreds of thousands of views over the course of a month, looking at your search page in particular, that cost to implement a solution like this is pretty minimal. If you were to look at an alternative solution where you are building out infrastructures to send data to and aggregate all of that information, even on-prem or on a hosted solution, that can have some pretty significant costs related to it. You also lose the responsibility of maintaining kind of the index of all of that data. And so you're not housing this large cache of information on your website, which pulling from a cache and storing all of that data can be pretty taxing on a server. There are some limitations with the search tool, and probably the most notable one is looking at gated content. So if you have member-specific content that's displayed on your website and you don't make that publicly available, a user needs to log in to be able to access that content. Google is also unable to access that content, and so they're not able to index those pages and that content and to be able to return that as a search result. There are ways you can get creative with that, and in the Easy DNN News module, for example, they have a concept for gated content, and with that you can provide your article title, summary, your keywords, any categories that you've defined for it, and display that to end users. But then you keep the bulk of your content kind of locked behind that user authentication. And so implementing that gated content and kind of this paywall type mechanism, you can still surface some key terms and content that Google is able to access and display that information into search. And then there are some presentation and style limitations. Google is dictating what that markup looks like, and so you are limited in how you can change the styling of it. So you can change like your font sizes and your colors and your spacing, but being able to fundamentally reorder the way that content is being displayed is something that you're not really able to do. And then also looking at the the length of the text that's being displayed in the search result is somewhat limited. And then another pretty substantial or item that usually has an impact if the programmable search engine is a good solution for you is looking at filtering and sorting and doing faceted based search. When we look at easy DNN news and resource libraries, we typically want to use a category-based structure that we can generate search results around. So we can have different sections that have very specific content that you can search around. So you might be in a subcategory and generating a search around that and not searching for the entire resource library. So if you need to get very specific in your facets or categories and filtering that you want to do, Google Programmable Search Engine might not be a great solution out of the box. The tool does support the ability for you to send over the facet data. It's in XML format, so you could pre-format and build a process for accessing data, defining what your facets or categories are, and then attribute those to your pages and your links that you have, and Google can start to understand that information and search related to those facets. But it is not something that I've done on a project to this point. And so that kind of gets into this advanced options exist. You can, again, pass through facets to do category type search mechanisms within the tool. There's also an API that you can access if you wanted to query your own data, get it returned in like a JSON or XML format, and then feed that into some kind of view for displaying your data. So with that kind of implementation, you could build something like a Too Sexy app that leverages the programmable search engine. You make the queries to the API, you get your data back, and then you pop that into a view where you can fully control the markup and presentation for the search results. I have a couple links here, just a quick link to getting started with the programmable search engine. It just requires that you have a Google account, you sign in, and then you can go through their UI to start to define the property and how you want to configure the search tool. From the search tool, there's controls that you have access to, like determining the presentation option and the layouts for it. But it is pretty out of the box, I guess, in the level of control that you have to go in and customize the presentation for it. Defining like search features, I think you can go in and define like, limitations or exclusions that you want to put in your search results to prevent certain keywords or terms from being picked up in search results. And then I think on this other tab I have here, I have just the breakdown of their pricing structure. I did mention that it's $5 per 1,000 queries, but nonprofit organizations can qualify for the free version of the programmable search engine. And so that is something that can be really handy to get access to if you are a nonprofit. Taking a quick look at two examples that we have here, I have AMT. They are using the search tool. Again, we have full control over the entry mode for a user when they want to run a search. So we have a magnifying glass, we drop down a search box, and then we can type in some search term that we want. So if I do COVID and return, it's going to take me to the dedicated search results page where we have the search module listed or embedded, and it's picking up the query string that we've defined. Google is going to go in and generate that search result and display all of those options for us. And then another example I have here is the California Dental Association. Again, another search box, full control to define in our design what the search tool is going to look like. And so we can generate a search for this, take us to the search results page where we can go in and view the content that's available for us. And so this is generating a mixture of results. It's pretty resource library heaven, but I would say CDA has a lot of resource library content, but we can see a mixture here: resource library, their newsroom, and then there may be miscellaneous pages that they've set up as well, where this content's being pulled in. And talking a bit about pricing, I think, in general, there's probably two costs to consider when using a tool like the programmable search engine. The first one is your ongoing cost. Again, that's $5 per 1,000 queries that you might be looking at. And then the other cost effective factor is how quickly you can add it to a website. I mentioned it earlier, but you might be looking at 8 to 10 hours to get the tool added to your website in a very similar configuration to these other sites. And so compared to building out a custom search solution, this is a great solution to get in place. Any questions about the search tool?
So if I just ask the group, like, is everybody familiar with the Google? I want to call it the GPSE.
Anything shorter than that?
I think that's the cooler way to say it. Like GPSE. Anyways, is everybody familiar with it? Have you used it before? Was this helpful? Yeah, I mean, I think it was a great overview to put on our channel too for information. Chris, I think you did a good job. But I'm just curious if, like, for this group, if this was helpful or not, or if anybody has any experience from using it and they don't like it or like it for any reasons.
I have not used it, but I know that search within DNN can be at least a few clients I've had that have not loved how it worked, and even using, what was it, Action Forms?
Search Boost.
Search Boost. Had a lot of hours playing with that had a lot of issues. So
that was the first project that we used it on. CDA was using Search Boost on their website for everything related to search, and it's kind of the way Search Boost is configured is it primarily looks at modules and then modules on pages to generate search results for you, which is different how Google approaches it, because it looks at what's on your page. Here's a page. Here's where that data matches. And so with Search Boost, you have to create all of these like data input feeds. Like, here's our easy DNN news content. Here's this page content, right? You have to define all of these sources, and that is man hours to get configured, and you have to troubleshoot all of those configurations. You also have like the obligation and cost of maintaining that service, because it has to re-index the data, which you tell it to do like every hour, every 24 hours. It has to then index all of that information, store it in cache, and then serve it through search. So it was pretty taxing on the CDA server. They had so much content that it would cause performance issues, and that was one of the big motivators for them to leave and to look at an alternative solution. And they're a huge organization with a lot of content, and Google they've been really happy with the search results for it.
Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our Gorilla Learning Lab. We have a lot more banana tidbits for you to get ape over. Check out our other videos or visit our website at www.10poundgorilla.com. I'm swinging on out of here.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You're not subscribed? That's bananas!